I'm now over 1,200 miles into this trail, so I figure it's a good time to show you guys what gear I've changed. So before I came out here, I did a ton of research. And because of that, I'm really happy with most of my gear, and most of the stuff I got's working out for me really well. There have been a couple items though I've just had to get rid of that weren't working at all. The first item is my camp shoes. I started the trail with a pair of Sakwa G2s. They were basically yellow neoprene slippers with a rubberized bottom. I thought, you know, 6 ounces for the pair, that's really light. They're going to provide enough protection so that I'm not getting poked, and they'll be great for around camp and just around the tent. The problem is they weren't. Yeah, they were really light, but the rubberized bottom, I could feel every stick, every sharp stone. I could feel everything on my feet, and that wasn't even the biggest problem. The biggest problem with them was that when it rained, I couldn't use them because they would just get caked with mud, and the mud would get through, it'd get on my socks, everything would get dirty, and then I wouldn't even be able to wear them again until I could get to town and stick them in a washing machine. So they were basically useless. I carried them around for maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks when I was on the trail, and then I ditched them. What did I get instead? I went to Wally World and I got myself a pair of imitation Crocs. Imitation Crocs, why didn't I spend the money to get the real Crocs? Because a real pair of Crocs weighs around 13 ounces. These imitation Crocs without the strap come in at 4.5 ounces each. So I'm saving about 4 ounces over the original real Crocs by using these. Now granted, they aren't as durable as regular Crocs, but they're easy to slide on and off in the middle of the night, and they work for what I use them for. I occasionally use them to get water, but mostly I just slide them on my feet when I'm around camp. That way I can get out of my muddy, dirty trail shoes. The second item I swapped out was my stove. I had started the trail with an alcohol stove. I made it myself. It was basically a can of cat food with holes punched in it. And it worked great. It really did. I made my own custom caldera cone. I dug my cook system. It worked great until I hit the Smokies. And when I hit the Smokies, it rained the whole time through the Smokies. There were massive wind gusts, and I had some issues with my alcohol stove. My issue was that by the time I was done boiling water and getting ready to eat, everyone was already on their second dinner. They were done cooking way before me. And I also had an issue a couple times because it was so windy and the weather was so bad. I wouldn't put enough alcohol in the stove. What would normally work on a nice, clear, non-windy day, that amount of alcohol wouldn't work for me because, you know, the system just wasn't as efficient. So what did I replace my alcohol stove with? A cheapo little BRS 3000. This guy right here, it's a little titanium stove. I was going to get one of the, you know, the Pocket Rocket 2s or one of those, but honestly, this is the lightest stove I could find. It's 26 grams. The thing cost under $15 on Amazon, and it boils water just like all the other stoves. Now, it may not be as efficient as a jet boil, and you might go through a little more fuel, but this is a definite step up over my alcohol stove, and I haven't had any issues with it yet. Okay, the third thing I swapped out was my quilt. I started the trail with an Enlightened Equipment Revelation, a 20-degree quilt, and I love the thing. I still love the thing. There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing that's changed is the weather. We're now hitting 80, 90-degree days, and a 20-degree quilt just doesn't make any sense now. So I wanted to find a really cheap alternative, and I ended up splitting a 2-pack of double black diamond quilts from Costco, and it was 25 bucks a piece we each paid. And this is I think a 700 fill power down quilt, and it weighs 16 ounces. It cost me 25 bucks, and it is perfect. It's a great summer quilt, and so far I absolutely love this thing. It's one of the cheapest, best pieces of gear I have. Now when I get a little further north, like up into New England, I will be sending this home, and I will have my Revelation sent back out to me, because when I get further north, it's definitely going to get a little chillier, and this down quilt is probably only good down to maybe 55 or 60 degrees. After that, you want something a little warmer. Number 4 on the list is my trekking poles. I had started the trail with a pair of, I think they were Trail Buddy aluminum trekking poles that I had gotten off of Amazon. They were basically a pair of rebranded Chinese poles. I liked them. They were comfortable. They were fairly lightweight. The problem is they broke right around hot springs. I was walking down some pretty steep steps, and I put the pole out in front of me, and I put a little bit of weight on it, and the cork grip slid completely down the pole. I taped it up with some duct tape, and 2 days later, the exact same thing happened to the other pole. So I ended up just duct taping them. I hiker boxed them, and I decided I was going to buy a pair of half-decent poles for the first time in my life. I always use cheap poles. So I didn't break the bank. I kind of wanted a pair of Lecky cork light poles, but I ended up going with the Lecky Journey poles instead. They were affordable. They were around 80 bucks, fairly lightweight. And after talking with representatives at Lecky, the only difference between the cork light trekking poles and the Journey trekking poles are the cork handle. That's it. All the aluminum, everything else they use on them, it's all the same. It's the same trekking pole. So while they are a little lighter than these and a little more comfortable, I wasn't willing to spend another $80 for that. So the last item I'm swapping out is actually my tent. I've been using a Z-Pax Altaplex. It's the spruce material, and it weighs like 22 or 23 ounces. I'm not getting rid of the tent and getting something different because I necessarily hate the tent, but I have had some issues with this tent. The Cuban fiber, the material that it is made out of, is actually delaminating. So I contacted Z-Pax about it, and they're actually phasing out the Altaplex. It's not going to be in their tent lineup anymore, but they are replacing it with the Plexamid, which they debuted a prototype at Trail Days, and I saw it and it looked amazing, and I was like, I gotta get one of those eventually. Well, they're replacing my Altaplex with the Plexamid, so I couldn't be more thrilled with that. I'm excited. So as you can see, I did my research. I swapped out some items. There may be one or two more little pieces of gear that I've swapped that I haven't gotten to in this video, but I'm going to post a post-hike video once I'm done through hiking, and I'll let you know what did and didn't work for me. But so far, this is just about everything I've swapped out, and I couldn't be happier right now, man. This hike's going really well. So thanks for tuning in to Grizzle Gear, and have a great day. Mahalo.